My guests are seated already. I have on my left Elvis Darko, who is the editor of the Finder newspaper. Good morning, Elvis.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. Had a good weekend?
Oh, yeah, not bad. I was in Togo over the weekend to cover this conference on the animal health. And at the border, this officer, immigration officer, just walked to me. His name is Assistant Superintendent of Immigration.
Okay.
His name is Aminu Adam. Just walked to me and said, I know you. I said, oh, how? I've been watching on Citi TV.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm like, wow.
Oh, wow.
You get Citi TV in Applaus. And she said, yes, I watch them. I'm like, wow. It's serious.
So we're going far.
Yeah, seriously. And he was full of commendation for Citi TV and what he's doing. I'm like, hey, this thing is taking It's quite an interesting moment.
Thank you for that update.
It was very helpful. It was very helpful to us being able to go to Togo.
But you're a big man. So he has to see you on TV. He has to.
But it's interesting. He's a very interesting person. Yeah. A very nice person. I think that.
Well, it's good to have you here. And I also have Kwame Jantuah, who is a lawyer and also the former vice chair of PIAC. Kwame, good.
Oh, you've left one out.
Really?
Yes.
Add it.
CPP.
The CPP what?
I'm a member of the CPP and chairman of the political committee of the CPP.
Okay, and you're also a Ghanaian.
I'm also a Ghanaian.
So that was we can add this.
So if you don't add it, they'll sacrifice me. So we have to add it.
I see. Okay.
But you see, you don't need to be a politician to be popular, Elvis. You know you're everywhere.
Hey.
You don't need to mount the political platform.
The politicians that are always popular.
If you go to Aflao and Togo and they see you, popular man.
It's quite seriously. The guy just walked to me and said, "I know you." I'm like, from where? I'm not sure I know. He said, hey, see watching on Citi TV. Wow. Well, it's interesting.
It's
interesting.
It's the privilege of being on a program like this. We're all privileged and thankful for that. Well, let's begin to get into our stories for today. We want to talk about the Nigeria border closure. Let me quickly read for you a few brief stories here, and then we'll just contextualize the discussion, and then we can begin to talk about it. Well, Guta, on this on citynewsroom.com, Guta Electrical Dealers Association give foreigners ultimatum to close shop. The Ghana Electrical Dealers Association and the Ghana Union of Traders Association are demanding the closure of all retail shops belonging to foreigners by Monday, November 4th, which is today. The associations claim the government has not fulfilled its promise by ridding the market of foreign traders in the retail market, despite several appeals. The group has been complaining about what they say is the collapse of their businesses due to the invasion of foreigners in the retail business. According to the traders, the activities of the foreigners contravene the GIPC's Act 865, citing the closure of the Nigerian border to protect its country for the smuggling of goods into their country. The association said they will not tolerate the foreigners anymore. And I quote, "Our deadline we gave to foreigners on our markets is long overdue, and as such we demand all foreigners to leave our markets and shut their shops. We are just implementing an act or laws which our leaders have failed to do. The local businesses are dying and our businesses are collapsing. If a sister country can close its borders to protect its citizens, local businesses, and to raise their revenue for their country, then we can equally do the same." Now, the Nigerian Ghana Customs to hold crunch meeting on Monday, that's today, over border closure. So that is also a story that we have. I'm just going to do a quick quote here. He says, when we got to the Commissioner of Customs, the customs people who went with us also had a very hearty discussion with him, and they were all on one side saying that it's important that they have a custom-to-customs cooperation where they will exchange information even about goods that are about to leave Ghana to Nigeria, so they can do the same for us. That way we know what is coming, they know what is coming into their country. you heard me say that we are going to create a special window for these Ghanaian trucks to be able to move in, and the Foreign Affairs Minister of Nigeria promised to do this with Ghana and to have that exchange. So the Commissioner of Customs for Ghana and that of Nigeria are supposed to sit down and come up with modalities. On Monday, he further went on to promise that on Monday we're having a crunch meeting, and after that meeting, they are going to come out with a brilliant announcement, and we should all open our ears, Mr. Ahenkra. So this is from Carlos Ahenkra there. Okay, and then finally, just quickly, yeah. So let's move on and get into our stories. Now I want to start with you, lawyer. Let's discuss the issue of the act. Now, the Guta is saying that all they are doing and they are seeking to do is to implement an existing law. I wonder if they've considered the fact that the law can actually be repealed, and if it is, what would they use as a case to then do what it is that they are doing? I want you to take us into this story, your thoughts on it, particularly touching on the legality or illegality of what they are doing in terms of saying that they want to enforce the law.
Good morning to our viewers and good morning to Elvis and yourself. The first half of your question is hypothetical.
Well, yes, it is.
It's hypothetical because if...
But we've repealed laws before, so we know that it can be done.
Well, at this present moment, they are acting in real time.
Yes.
They are acting according to the laws that are enforceable. Parliament hasn't decided to repeal the law, nor has government decided to repeal the law. So it is active and live, number one. I don't know what they will do if this law is not in place, but if the law is not in place, then they have no locus to do what they are doing.
Yeah.
Their mandate is the law, and they've been citing the law. And this is section 27(1) of Act 865, which lays down the fact that foreigners are not allowed to trade in the retail sector.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of... what was the second question? I just lost my train of thought.
The current happenings now, the conversations that are going on, border closure, Guta's agitation, and says allow Ghanaians to come back who are stuck in Nigeria. Products, our goods that are going to Nigeria are stuck at the border. All those.
You know
things.
something?
Yes.
Sometimes I ask myself, what is wrong with Africans? What is it?
Why do you ask that question?
I ask that question because if we are supposed to have an area called ECOWAS, and right now we've signed an agreement for free trade, should our leaders not be talking? Unfortunately, we haven't heard the president speak about this in detail, in depth, one. And his party is a party of, what, private sector.
Yeah.
So I was expecting some word from him.
And private business.
And private business. I was expecting some word from him. Okay, if he's not going to speak on this, I expected that there should be some word between himself and the Nigerian head of state. Bear in mind, the Nigerians are not saying because of what is happening in Ghana, that's why they are closing the border.
No.
They are saying that they are doing that because of smuggling into their country.
Yes. Specifically Benin, actually.
Yes. If everybody on the West Coast decides to do that, where is ECOWAS?
It doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Free trade, free continental trade area, where is it?
Dead on arrival.
Dead on arrival. Then you ask the question, where's the AU? The AU, who are the apex body, they even have an AU parliament.
Yeah.
Why don't they come in? Why are we leaving? You see, and there is a challenge between laws in countries and laws surrounding a continent. And we need to be able to bring some finality to it. If we are heading for economic unification, then that's the first thing we should look at. And for me, I do not think the leaders of this continent should have started talking about continental free trade when they haven't done anything about the nitty-gritties.
Yeah.
The nitty-gritties is the law. The nitty-gritties is the type of business we're talking about. The nitty-gritties of how we plan industrialization within. The nitty-gritties are the different, what do they call them? Like ECOWAS, SADC.
Yes, the different economic regions.
Economic regions should start sitting down and talking. When we've done all that, then we can say we have gotten to a point where African free trade can work. Remember, we are 59 years behind this African economic free trade zone we're talking about. 59 years behind. And so it's not a wishy-washy thing that we should be doing. Now, to the specific issue of whether what the Ghanaians are doing is right. They are following the law. Aren't they? As unfortunate as it is, they are following the law. Fortunately, there's no violence. But if government still sits and always says, we are talking to the Nigerians, we are doing this, we are doing that, we are doing this, and people begin not to see action, they take the laws into their own hands. Then you ask the question, for them taking the laws into their own hands, should they be arrested? Should they be arrested? Should the police come in? Yes, they're enforcing a law, but is it their right to enforce the law, or is the right of probably...
Well, you can also discuss the issue of citizens' arrest. So that is something that we are permitted by law to do, isn't it?
You know the right way to go.
Tell us.
Guta should take government to court.
Okay. Over non-enforcement of law.
Yes.
Okay.
And get the court to rule. Once the court rules, they have all the power whatsoever to take action. But do we take our governments to court in this country? Hardly. If it's political, maybe yes. But non-political, I think it's also very important that the young ones coming can be able to learn from our actions. So if court is the way forward, I would plead with Guta to take government to court. Because, look, they're also talking about the Chinese, closing Chinese shops and all that. Don't they have a right? But I also ask the question, David, what is it that is making it difficult for them not to be able to make ends meet? Is it that the people bringing goods in are getting a certain interest rate that they are not getting? Is it that the goods coming in are much cheaper? What is it? Because they haven't actually told us what it is that is causing them to not make ends meet. And that they are venting their spleen on foreign shops.
Okay. So I'll let you have a stab at that, because when I posed the hypothetical situation where the law can be repealed, lawyer put it right. It's still hypothetical at this stage. But I'm asking the question, are Guta going about this the right way? Is there not something else they could do? And the fact that if, let's say, in the situation where government responds and clears out all foreigners from the retail space, would that solve the core problem?
I don't know what their core problem is.
They say they can't make ends meet.
Why?
Because foreigners have taken the space.
How did they take the space? Are they selling the same product? Are they selling at competitive prices?
They are selling the same product.
Are they selling at competitive prices?
Yes, they are. That's what is giving them problems.
So then what's the problem? If your goods have competitive price...
Guta is not selling at competitive price. So that the foreigners are selling at prices that are too cheap.
But that is, you see, the consumer is king. I go to the market with my money. I determine my purchasing power. So if I get to the market and a fresh, brand new shirt is 100 Ghana, and I see a rejected one from a store that is being sold on the market is 50 Ghana, I have to look at how much is in my pocket. Probably the things are of same quality and same value. I decide. So Guta cannot decide for me where I should buy. I decide where I should buy based on my economic powers, my purchasing power.
Yes, but
but
isn't that why they are not dealing with the customer, but they are rather dealing with those who are supplying the product?
That's what I'm saying. So, see,
Deal with the customer.
So for me,
deal with the customer.
Let's understand that in a free market economy, people go to the market and exercise their purchasing power depending on what they can buy.
Yeah, but there are laws.
So that is
don't allow them.
The law is there.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with them trying to ask government to enforce the law.
Okay.
But see, there are many laws that, obviously, if you do a better analysis, is of no use to you. Okay? There are many Ghanaians in America, UK, Germany, and other places who are doing retail.
Okay.
Which law bans them? Because it's a free market economy. Probably we lack an idea of what a free market economy is supposed to be. Okay. And probably we need to do studies. Has Guta done any study to have real data to prove that if the foreigners are kicked out, it will be to their benefit?
It's interesting you say that because all the list of the things in our GIPC law that says you can't do this, you can't operate a salon, you can't do this. Ghanaians are doing all these businesses in other countries.
In other countries?
Yeah.
In other countries?
All of them.
I went to Germany and somebody wanted to give me a baba and said, it'll take me 10 euros. I said, I'll come back to Ghana. So I came with a very bushy hair. Because I can't pay 10 euros just to have a haircut in Germany. That is about 10 years ago. Okay. And I said it was too expensive.
It was a Ghanaian?
It's a Ghanaian. Okay. It's a Ghanaian who is the barber there. Okay, so for me, the law might be there. But you see, as a country, we need to do a complete evaluation and look at how beneficial will it be if we keep such a law.
Yeah.
And how beneficial will it be if we repeal that law. How will it help economic growth? How will it help our people also to be able to trade in other countries? I told you that, look, the whole Africa, Nigeria is the big brother, okay? If Nigeria gets its act right, all of us will grow.
Are they not just bullying us because they are bigger than us?
No, because it's at a point that they also need to do something. Because Nigerians in every country now have come under attack because they are doing genuine business, not because they are criminals. They go to South Africa, they are being beaten because they own shops. And the South Africans say they are taking our jobs. In Ghana, we say they should go because they are taking our jobs. So the government also needs to do something to protect its citizens. So if they felt that closing the border under the disguise of people evading duties is what will give them a certain leverage and send a message to the people who are attacking their citizens, they will do it. That's why the president will sign an executive order. And he has extended it to January 31st. So from now to January 31st, there's no way they are opening the border.
According to the Punch newspaper from Nigeria, it's actually beyond the 31st.
You understand? So
January,
if they found that closing their border will send a clear message to people that if you want to be attacking our citizens in your country, we also have a way of dealing with you. It's also their law. Their president has signed it and it's the law. The same Guta is now crying that our government should go and beg Nigerians to open the border. They are also using their law. So why are you asking your government to go and beg them? Okay. It is their law. It's their right to do what they want to do with their borders. Yeah. So if you are claiming that your law, which you have not done any proper evaluation to know whether it is still useful or not, you are insisting that it should be implemented, their government also decide to implement the law. So why are you now putting pressure on your government that it should go and negotiate for you to be able to do business with Nigeria?
So is Guta crying foul for no good reason?
If they believe that the law in our books is still relevant, then the order given by Nigeria is also relevant to them in their country. So we should keep it, and everybody should sit.
And okay, so Nigerians will leave the space. Ghanaians will have only the Ghanaian space.
Market for you. So you don't have anything to do in the Nigerian market. And then let's see whether that is useful. So we have to understand. See, I believe that Nigeria gives us more prospects than we give Nigerians. Yes. And I believe that if we get our acts right as a people, we'll ride on the back of Nigeria and we'll achieve a lot. Okay. So this idea of Guta, I think that Guta needs to be able to sit down and say, look, maybe this law has been done at a time that it may be useful. But today, looking at the economic values and things, based on this analysis, if we have access to maybe just even 10% of the Nigerian markets are Ghanaian traded, we may be so much rich by this amount, and therefore let's not concentrate on this law. Let's rather repeal it and rather make the business environment friendly. You see, that is the way. But I think Nigeria too should understand that closing the border completely is not a solution because no country can be an island. If they say they are stopping...
But they're opening a corridor for us.
If they say they are stopping importation of rice to their country because their farmers are producing enough rice to feed their people, I'm all for it. I believe that the country must be able to say, I am self-sufficient in A, B, C, D, and I don't need imports. Okay, all right. But I'm not self-sufficient here, so I will open up for imports.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. No, I'll let you come back to this. So we'll take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. And my guest, Elvis, was making a submission before we went off, and we'll just let him finish on that.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that if we say GIPC law is our law, so we should enforce it. Executive order by Buhari is also law in Nigeria.
Yes.
So if Guta insists that our laws in the book should be enforced, then they have no business telling our government that they should go and negotiate with Nigeria not to also enforce the executive order, because they are both laws. But I believe that in both ways we are wrong. Asking Nigerians to leave our market is neither here nor there. Trade and business and economic integration has moved beyond that. What Guta should do, if they can do, is hire consultants to do a real economic analysis for them about having access to the Nigerian market fully and allowing Nigerians to have access to our market. Who benefits? How will it help their business? I think that if they've done work like that, they will have then empirical evidence to determine which one is better for them. So for me, I think that is what an organization like Guta should be doing. They shouldn't just be focusing on the law, because there may be some law you may think is good for you, but if you do empirical work, you realize that the law is not actually good for you. And you may be able to ask government to rather change it, because if it is changed, and your other party sees it as positive, and they also give you greater access, you may be a bigger beneficiary than the other country. So I think that we should approach the thing based on a scientific basis. We are talking about integration. We are talking about a free trade area. How does a free trade area operate when you are asking people to leave your market? How does it operate when Nigeria is closing its borders? Free trade doesn't work that way. So if we have gone and signed continental free trade agreement, we have been struggling to have a single currency for ECOWAS for ages, and these things are not happening. It is because of some of these things. We have to be looking at convergence of laws, rules, and everything that concerns free movement of people and business on the continent, and see how we can harmonize these things into one that everyone will implement. That is the only way we can take advantage of some of these policies. So for me, Guta is right on the side of the law. Buhari and Nigeria are also right on the side of the law, because the executive order is also law. But in my opinion, both sides are wrong, because you travel elsewhere, Ghanaians are doing all kinds of things that we are saying that Nigerians or foreigners should not do in Ghana. So if our own brothers and sisters are doing same in other people's countries, what right do we have to say others should not do it in our country? For me, based on that, I believe that these laws we pass, it's sad. And unfortunately, I don't know why Guta is fighting for some of them. I think Guta, those who are fighting for are just few. Because if you tell me hairdressing, barbering, selling of ice water is reserved for Ghana, for me it is a shame. If we are reserving oil blocks, mining and other things for Ghanaians, that is where the money is. That is where we can leverage on to do something big. But if those ones are open to foreigners, and selling of sachet water is what we are restricting and reserving from Ghanaians, I think we've got our priorities wrong. We should be saying that we are reserving 50% of oil blocks for Ghanaians, so that if a Ghanaian gets the oil block, and if he doesn't have the money and brings in a foreigner, if they make profit, he automatically the Ghanaian makes some money. If we say mining concessions, no matter how big the company is, there must be a Ghanaian that must owe 20 or 30% in it. Then we are making sense. But this, excuse me to say, menial jobs that we are reserved for our citizens in our law, for me, is completely a waste of time. And we must look at that law, review it to really work with current circumstances. That's the only way the door will be open. Nigeria has 200 million population, a middle class of about 20% of the middle class. If you have 2% of even the Nigerian middle class doing business with you, you are far better off in Ghana. Because that is far bigger than even the Ghanaian middle class.
David, there's a bigger picture to this. And this is where foresight is very, very important. So the Nigerians are saying that they're closing their borders because of rice importation, and that they have quite a lot of, they're self-sufficient in rice. Isn't this the time for West African governments to sit down and see the strengths from both, for countries within the sub-region? Because don't we import rice? How much money do we spend in importing rice? Nearly $500 million.
Millions.
Nigeria is producing rice. We have one diamond in this country that we can play over Nigeria. Salt. Salt. 2 countries in the West African sub-region have natural salt deposits, Senegal and Ghana. Nigeria imports a lot of their salt from Brazil.
about $2 billion a year for the petrochemical industry.
Now,
and you could have been buying from us.
Now,
yes.
If we are to develop a salt industry, Nigeria will take everything. Bring more money in.
We can't even match what they need.
Shouldn't it be the point of discussion now, where the heads of states will say, well, if you're doing this, if you're shutting the borders because of this, we need rice, we have salt. How do we develop a salt industry?
Yeah.
Help us do it. We will buy rice from you.
Yeah.
Is that not a positive action?
It makes more sense.
So who is thinking? Thinking ahead is a duty and not an option. It's a duty for leaders to think ahead. And you know, the quantum of employment that would generate. Look, I have done a feasibility of salt from Gomoafete all the way to Adan. And during the dry season, you see sparkles of salt in the sand. When you go to Adan during the dry season, the sun is hot, you see the ground sparkling. It goes to show when the sea comes in and it goes back,
it leaves the salt.
It leaves the salt. What are we doing about it? And we don't do anything about it because we're scared of the land tenure system. Because the chiefs would create problems. But you see, even apart from Nigeria, if we were to export salt into Europe for even their winter season, where they use salt to defrost the roads, do you know how much money that would make? And so if we are looking at the entire West African sub-region, and we are looking at trade, we should boil down to the strengths of the different countries and trade together. I really don't, and I agree with what Elvis says. They are protecting, Nigerians are protecting themselves. The Ghanaians are protecting themselves, but both are wrong. If really we're talking ECOWAS and we're talking free trade, they are both wrong. And this is the time for ECOWAS, for AU, for the governments to sit and see how we move forward. And in moving forward, put a plan together where we develop some of these things to benefit ourselves. Who are benefiting from our rice imports? Who are benefiting from our poultry imports? Who are benefiting from all these things that we import? Our jute sack import. Who are benefiting from it? Bangladesh, America, China, all these. They are benefiting from our pounds flying away. Can't we begin to talk about it now? It's a leadership issue.
And you see, we can go to Nigeria with good relationship and say, look, we need $1 billion to put our salt industry in the right spec that you need. We don't have the money. Nigeria, bring the money, develop it, cut the salt. When the money is off, the facility become ours as Ghana. These are the kind of corporations we need to build a sub-region, because some are financially strong and they can put this. Because Nigeria knows that once I put it in place, I stop importing salt from Brazil. Because the freight cost of bringing the salt from Nigeria, from Brazil,
apart from that,
and from Ghana,
Elvis, you look at the railway link. You look at the railway link.
It's so amazing. So what if we need to have a proper growth? And that is one thing that the African Free Trade Area is going to cost us if we don't plan. We will lose everything on this continent. Because we are going to create a system where we will not invest in the infrastructure and the kind of thing that is needed. Foreigners will come and invest in it,
take the money out,
sell to us, and take the profits away, and will be worse.
But it's happening.
So we must understand that the potential for us to collaborate among ourselves and develop infrastructure and key things that we can share among ourselves exist. And if we do it and do it well, it will benefit all of us. As you say, if Nigeria said they are rice sufficient and they can supply rice to Ghana, what are you talking about? Dangote is building a 16 billion refinery. When it's done, he can supply the whole West Africa of fertilizer. He can supply the whole of West Africa of fuel products. We no longer need to go to Europe to go and import fuel. He's going to supply bitumen. Everything about petrochemical, he can supply the entire West Africa. This is one man. So you can imagine if governments decide that these are our strengths and we want to invest in this area.
Elvis, he was intentionally created.
You understand?
It was intentionally
we want to invest, but I don't have the money as Ghana, but you, Nigeria, you have the money. Instead of importing these things from here, if you invest in that infrastructure in my country, we give it to you. If it takes 5 years or 10 years, recoup your money, let it come back to us, and then we will be better off if my money is shared among us in West Africa than to let a foreigner from Europe or somewhere to come and do something and take the money away. So you see, we should look at economic integration. I have said it. We have not done enough studies about how we can harmonize our laws, our rules and regulations to make integration of people and goods in the sub-region work. And that is one key thing we must be working at.
Okay. Don't Nigerians eat chicken?
Yeah.
Don't they eat chicken?
Yeah.
Don't we eat chicken?
Yeah.
Where's the poultry industry? There and here.
Guinea fowl is a very lean meat. More nutritious than chicken.
Okay,
Ghana has the potential to produce in large quantities.
On that note, let's move on. And guinea fowl notes.
Guinea fowl fly.
Guinea fowl notes.
No, it's a potential. It pains me when I look at the potential. And you talk to those who are into the business, they tell you how profitable it is.
Thinking ahead is just
amazing. So
not an option.
Your messages have come through. I'm going to read a few of them and then we'll go on and continue the conversation. A. Farouk from Tamale North says, good morning. The Nigeria border closure is unfortunate and uneconomic. ECOWAS must rise up. #BreakfastDaily. Walanyo Nakutia says, cocoa sector to get a huge amount in order to boost production is in order. Let's extol the government for this great move.
Come on.
Jagos from Nsawam says the Ghana Health Service must please do their possible best to control this new influenza virus that is taking control of some of these SHSs. From Dr. Abedi in Kwadaso, he says, good morning, champion host. I see. Thank God President Akufo-Addo's government is injecting $600 million into the cocoa sector to stimulate cocoa production. And kudos to the government for fulfilling its One Village, One Dam project by cutting sod for a construction of the $750 million Kwalugu Dam on 29th November. Okay, all right. Interesting. I wonder if he's looking at the cutting the sod for one project as fulfilling the promise of One Village, One Dam. Anyway, the next topic we want to tackle is the implementation of the new curriculum. The minority raises concerns about the lack of textbooks. Okay, so I'm going to read a story briefly, and then we'll go in and have the conversation. Lack of textbooks for new curriculum, gross incompetence and insensitivity, says Clement Apak. A deputy ranking member on Parliament's Education Committee, Dr. Clement Apak, has called on the government to come out with a specific date as to when basic schools will receive learning material for the new curriculum, which started in September 2019. According to him, the Nana Akufo-Addo-led MPP government owes Ghanaians an explanation as to why 2 months on, there are no books based on the new curriculum. Dr. Apak, in a statement, backed his demand with a disclaimer issued by NACA, which is the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, with regards to the release of the education materials. NACA has refuted claims that publishers are selling textbooks and other supplementary learning materials to schools and the general public purported to have been approved by it for the new standards-based curriculum. Now, I'm going to read quickly something on the back page of the Daily Graphic. It says, no textbook approved for schools yet, says NACA. So they were...
It's the same thing that Dr. Park is saying.
Yes.
He's relying on this and saying that if this is the case, then it's bad. You understand it?
So hold on. Two things. So there's the conversation that the minority is raising up issues, right? But then my bigger question is, why roll out a program if you don't have approved textbooks for the program?
No, that is a question that I can't answer. The people who are in charge should tell us why we want to roll out a program. Up to now, the students are in school, the pupils are in school, and there's no textbook. So the question is, what are the teachers supposed to be using to be teaching these kids whilst they are in school?
It's almost
what
3
are
months.
they learning?
Yeah.
What are they learning? Because at the end of the day, they are going to be examined based on the new curriculum.
Yeah.
So if the textbooks are not ready, the question, what are teachers using?
What are they teaching them?
To teach the kids? Are they still teaching the old curriculum or they are teaching the new curriculum? I don't know. Maybe the teachers, because maybe they have been given training, maybe they have what they are supposed to. Maybe the kids who don't have the textbook to take home and do references and study on their own. They need to come and explain, because it's a very bad thing to say that you are teaching a new curriculum, yet textbooks are not been approved. It's sad. But you see, these things, you don't need to politicize this. So I don't understand why minority wants to politicize this. We should be looking at education in a holistic way.
Is it politicizing it though?
You see, I'm coming. We are looking at education, and we should be looking at education in a modern way. Okay. One of the keys, which I know may be the problem, is the cost of printing textbooks.
Okay.
The cost of printing textbooks is huge, and in 2-3 years, you have to replace all, because the ones you printed will be torn. So it's like every 2-3 years, government need to look for huge monies to go and bring in textbooks just for kids. We are looking at an age where you have to say, do you really need all this? Can't we digitize education? Can't kids have computers or tablets or things with all the textbooks loaded on it? And that for 10 years, if you have not changed your curriculum, the kid just take the tablet without internet, because it's downloaded, it's on it. It's just on the screen. You don't need even internet, because it's already downloaded, it's on it. Can't we do things like, can't we modernize education? There's a private company called YOLO. But they are trying to try something about education.
They'll argue
and
about
they are looking for the best teachers in various subjects to do the teaching online. And every school, once you have access to their system, every kid can go there at any time, sign up, and listen to some of the best teachers, can post a question, and the teacher will have to respond. And all this, this is an initiative of a private company who is trying to help. Can't the state also look at the fact that if we are spending so much money to print textbooks every 2-3 years, if we can invest in a technological system that will make some of this available, then reliance on textbook does not become too much. Even without the textbook, the child will have somewhere he can get something to study. So I think that once it's important that we have the textbooks, we should be looking beyond hard copy textbooks for students at this age. Even if we leave the primary out that they need the books, how about JSS and secondary school? These are people who can conveniently use any tablet available with loaded information. So for me, once we are looking at this, we should also look at the cost of printing textbook all the time and find ourselves, can't we invest that in a technological platform that will provide a better access to some of this information without necessarily printing textbooks all the time? So I think that the NACAP need to come and give us further explanation. They deny that they have not approved any textbooks, an indictment on them. It's not about denial. The fact that you are in charge, you must make sure that the textbooks are available before even school reopens. So if students are in school, people are in school for 2 months, and you are now telling us that you have not even approved any textbook for them, they have more questions to answer. And I think that is bad, and that they must do something about it as early as possible. And I think that Dr. Park is right by demanding answers from NACA why the textbooks are not ready. It's a very bad development.
Roya, what do you make of all this?
David, who's planning? Who is planning?
Are you asking me to answer that question?
I'm asking the question. Who is planning? You know that, correct me if I'm wrong, the curricula is changed every 3 years, is it?
It's supposed to be changed quite frequently.
So if it's changed quite frequently, do you not plan that you need X quantity of textbooks for the children? So you plan to see...
I think it's every 10 years, isn't it? It's not supposed to be 3 years.
I'm not sure. Probably Elvis would be in a better position to tell me. But you know that this cost is going to come up. Do you not plan towards it and find a way around it? So we are now here, and then we blame students for failing exams. We blame students.
But that logic even beats my mind. I mean,
we blame law students.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that the logic even beats my mind. When you blame, the lecturer is proud to say that he failed 100 students.
Because the school will not sack him.
I mean,
and where does that challenge come from? It comes from you, the lecturer.
Yeah.
Comes from you, the lecturer.
Absolutely.
It's not the student. Yeah, there are some students who, they don't take their studies seriously. But each time the majority of students don't take their studies seriously. Anybody
doesn't make any sense.
Who has been admitted into law school, admitted into the medical fraternities, been admitted into accountancy, all these top professions. If you go there and you go and play, it's at your own peril. But I don't think students who go into this part, even if it's only business administration, I don't think anybody who's been admitted into such discipline would play with their.
I agree with you. I think that when you look at the fact that the law school entrance exams are being sat by people who have qualified.
Yes.
From Lagos.
Yes.
You know, so these are students who are already sharp.
They've done the 3 years.
They are sharp students.
Yes.
They're not dull students.
They've got the LLB.
Yeah.
And they're going for specialization and the professional part.
Yeah.
And so we come back to our students. Who is planning for these children? Is it the Ministry of Education? Is it the Ministry of Finance? Who is supposed to make sure that the textbooks are there? And should we not have a dedicated publishing house that publishes all these books and textbooks? Are we not supposed to have it? And I don't know, at the present moment, when I was in...
But the current procurement economy doesn't augur well for such ideas.
So the curriculum is supposed to be changed every 5 years.
Every 5 years.
Okay.
Every 5 years.
So you have the time to plan for it.
Yeah.
You have the time to plan for it. And is it the Education Ministry supposed to make sure that we have the money? Is it the Ministry of Finance? Who is supposed to make sure that the money is there? And you budget for it, don't you?
Yeah.
You budget for it.
Yes.
And if you budgeted for it, why should there be this problem? We are now finishing first term. We hit Christmas, first term is gone. We're into second term. No textbooks.
Yeah.
How are the children supposed to study? No, I was going to say, when I was in primary school, the textbooks, the children don't take home. You use the textbooks and it is stored in the school.
Yeah.
Then you go home, and if your parents want to make sure that you have textbooks, they buy it for you.
Yeah.
Is that what happens today?
I wonder how.
Do the students buy the textbooks when it's brought in, or are the textbooks kept in the schools so that you can keep, the condition?
Yeah, I think currently the government provides that by the policy. They're supposed to provide the free for the core subjects.
Yes.
The three core subjects is free by government. The rest, the parents must supply.
Okay. So if that is the case, you haven't published it. Parents want to buy textbooks for their wards. How do they do that? Now, taking Elvis's point about computerizing, we struggle with electricity. We struggle with electricity, let alone procuring laptops. The NDC government, some time ago, did they not do something like that? With RG,
those laptops.
What happened to it? You see,
but the idea behind it was supposed to be a good thing.
Yes, it was a good thing.
But it's about implementation.
But you see, David, this is where
I heard all kinds of funny stories.
This is where they would have to be strict with procurement, because definitely somebody will try and make some money off it. Definitely. If you can't police it and police it right, what Elvis is suggesting in terms of laptops and all that, it will go awry.
Yeah.
Because if you've noticed and if you've monitored, any good thing that we implement in this country, in the end, it goes awry. School feeding program, where is it today?
All right. Let's touch quickly on our last story, and then we'll leave the segment. So $6 million stimulus package to increase $600 million. Stimulus package to increase production of in the cocoa industry. So the Equivalent administration, acting through Ghana Cocoa Board, is to inject $600 million to stimulate the cocoa sector through a cocoa productivity enhancement program, which will, among other things, step up Ghana's production from 700,000 to 1.5 million tons by 2027. The stimulus will target rehabilitation of plantations, improvement in storage, domestic processing, stimulation of local consumption, as well as efforts to increase output on farms, among others, and spans a 7-year period. Your take, very briefly.
No, I think it's a very good move, because if you look at it, cocoa is like one of the single largest contributors to employment and revenue for this country. Cocoa is employed by 800 to 1 million Ghanaians who live on cocoa production. So if we are investing money there for sustainability and increase in production, it means that the farmers are likely to make more once production goes up. So I think that it's a very good move, and we should do it and do it well, so that the expected outcome will come in. But the angle that I want to emphasize more is about consumption.
Okay.
that we produce cocoa here, but there are so many communities you go to, people who have never seen chocolate before. They've not seen any cocoa product in their life before. Okay. Why can we produce this very important product and people cannot have access to it to enjoy? So I think that we should look at local consumption and then value addition. 100 billion a year dollar industry, and we are getting just about 2 billion a year, even though we produce 20% of the entire cocoa. Is not good enough. So we should go into value addition so that we can make more money from the industry.
Let me take your final thoughts.
I'm happy.
You're happy?
Yes.
It's a good idea.
And I'll personalize it.
Okay.
Because I'm a cocoa farmer.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm handling my father's
cocoa. It's good for you.
Yeah. My father has a 750-acre cocoa farm in Ontario, and I'm handling it. So it's good for me. But the other side of the coin, for me, is we should have concentrated majority of this money into added value.
Okay.
Because what you get, a ton you get, say, profit of 2 cedis. You get 8 cedis if you add value to it. And on that score, you create more business. Look, I have a cousin who's into this chocolate thing in Tema, the free zones area. If you see what he's doing, just with added value alone, and the number of people he employs, just with added value alone is key. Now,
is that a niche cocoa?
We should, yes. Wow. We shouldn't politicize this. We shouldn't say, when NDC were here, they couldn't reach the $1 million mark. We have reached the $1 million mark and clap our hands. That is not what we're looking for. We are looking to add value, because at the present moment, it is Ghana and Ivory Coast, with Indonesia knocking on our door, because they are also producing cocoa in great quantities.
Okay. So and Nigeria is picking up huge.
Nigeria now is huge. So let's make sure that we add value and increase the yield, and then create more employment for our
and a new cocoa processing factory.
Thank you very much
in Nigeria.
Elvis Darko is the editor of the Final Newspaper, and lawyer Kwame Jantuah is also the former vice chair of PIAC, and he also insists on reminding us that he's a member of the CPP.
I am.
Insists on reminding us. There's a quick message that I want to read briefly from one of our viewers. He says, I don't know whether it's a he or she, says, my auntie has a very big beauty salon shop in Nigeria. Is Guta saying Nigeria should also close that down? If you do me, I do you too. Thank you very much for watching this segment of the show. We'll be right back.
Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed this video.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Citi Tube,
for exclusive breakfast daily content and other Citi TV programs.
Like, comment, and share with your friends.